All right. So we're going to touch on surface templates. I'm going to kind of repeat what we did last on that last recording just to make sure we get that in here as well. So surface templates can be covered either here in the quarter modeling, or it can be covered in the proposed terrain modeling, or even existing terrain modeling. However that's going to be handled, because you have to have a terrain model in order to do a surface template. So again, I just have my contours and my geometry showing up. And then I want to make sure my working container, and the correct one, is in there. And then I will go ahead and turn that on. So the reason I want to have this in my 3D is because I'm creating a terrain. So to create that terrain, so I'm just going to pick an area. So what I want to do is I'm just going to pick my edges. So for instance, if I want to create a surface terrain, and let's say I want to know, or I have an idea of what my existing pavement is, and I'd like to have that show up in my cross sections. I'd like to be able to have that actually bring a cut to maybe say the bottom of my pavement or something to that effect. So what I can do is I can even come in here. I can place, I can just place a smart line. So I'm just going to snap to some points. So I'm going to take that point. If I snap again, it's going to take me to here. I'm just going to go ahead and go a little bit further just so that we can show, okay, maybe I want to do a little bit of pavement correction. And then I'm going to pick somewhat perpendicular across. Then I'm going to go ahead, bring this down all the way back down to here. I'm going to pick a nearest. And then I'm going to snap to the end of my smart line. So now I want to make sure, okay, that's a shape. It's a closed shape. Now that I've drawn that in, so again, I could even take these and copy those, bring them together, do a complex chain. Could do it that way too. But for these purposes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a terrain from elements. We'll get more into this tomorrow. So again, this is just kind of a preview of what we'll be talking about there. So I'm going to do a terrain from elements. So I'm just going to pick from elements. It's a break line. I'm going to use max triangle length instead of remove slivers or none, because I want to create a boundary of some sort. I'm going to pick a tighter interval just because. And I'm going to then assign that. I'm going to assign it a temporary for this terrain. And I'm just going to call it, let's call it US 24 existing temporary. I'm going to go ahead and pick that element. Then I'm going to reset, accept through my left prompts. And now that should be a terrain model. So I should have a terrain model under called US 24 temp. So now I have a terrain model. So what I can do is I can come into model detailing. So again, I have, that's where my linear templates were. This is also where my surface templates are. I can apply a surface template based on, oh, hey, I have different templates. I can come to surface templates that I may have. Again, this is provided, you guys have these surface templates already provided through CDOT. So I'm going to say I have an asphalt pavement with bases. That's what I want to use because I want to start getting some depth. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to pick that. Enable linear features is going to be for my surface template. My surface template, I'm just going to call US 24 X surface template. I want to apply an exterior boundary. So I can go and notice it asks locate a terrain model. So I have to have a terrain model to do this. So I'm going to pick it and then apply external boundary. So I'm going to apply external boundary. So that's my external boundary. data point. And then after I data point, what you're going to see is I'm going to have that linear template. That linear template is based on that information I gave. And see how big the triangles are? It's because I just did 2 lines. The more points I have, the more triangles I'm going to get, just right, because it's going to go to those triangle points. So to kind of see what this does a little bit, I'm just going to change. I'm just going to go to illustration, shadows. So you can see it's an actual solid. I can pull quantities. I can pull information from that. You can see it's got the materials assigned to it. So I've got asphalt. I've got different kinds of aggregates for my base courses that are going on. It's an actual surface. So this is something that I can have that will show up in my cross section, show up in different elements where I can say, okay, yeah, that's my existing, because I have a geotech report that tells me these are my existing information. So this is one way too to kind of quickly establish an existing foundation rather than having to go through the calculations, and I can actually model against it and see different voids and areas that I have. This is just kind of into a more of a detailed modeling approach, depending on what the project is again and what your expected deliverable is, that can help you out or not. So I think with that, Sahar, we can stop recording.